Welcome back to another episode of the Book of Jake. I believe this is the 12th episode. And before we start, I have to tell you this is your go-to place for anything that is, improve your life, tips on motivation, self-help, growth. I want you to, spend time here, share it with your friends, like, subscribe. If you have something that is, at the back of your mind and you says, Jake, what are your thoughts on this? Please help me also, because what this does is also help me with great content. You don't have to pay anything. Again, like and subscribe also. Big shout out to Adam Lobo TV, Adam Lobo Studios, a place where you can do your podcast. If you like to rent this, please holler at me. Adam Lobo is also my son. So I have to pay him when I get some money. Anyway, today we're diving deep into a topic that I believe is very important. It's called failure. Not about the failure of Liverpool the other day, but this is real failure. Why is it so important? Failure to me is probably one of my most important teachers. I've had wake-up calls because of failures. Even at that point although at that point you feel like, oh God, why is this happening to me? Oh God, why is this happening to me? And we spoke about playing victim, right? So these failures have actually helped me because when your emotions are more relaxed, when you calm down, when you've realized that, there's nothing you can do, you be stoic about it, then you start to analyze the failure. Why did I fail? Was it within your control? Is there something I could have done better? So to me, failures are important. So let's get real for a second. How many of us have found ourselves standing at the search bar in Google and typing, how important is failure for personal development? I don't know about you, but I have done it because sometimes I have to console myself and I have to ask myself, why am I failing? And all of us go through that whiner, victim mentality, So failure is a scary thing, and most of us will sort of backtrack because we're afraid to fail. It's like standing at the end of the cliff and, some cliff and thinking, oh my God, what if, So it's the fear of defeat. Most of us are afraid, one, because of stigma. We're afraid of what people will say because we put it out in the open and then we'll say, I'll be humiliated if I start all over again. But again, like I said, it's just another step in your career, in your life and all that. Trust me, even as someone who's have failed so many times, you cannot imagine the amount of times people have said no to me. People have, job careers. I failed so many times. Really, I failed so many times. But the thing about me is I have the tenacity to get right back up. I try to, again, like I said, you guys have to understand that we will not appreciate the wins without these failures. And all of us, when you retrospect back, we remember those failures more than our wins. We tend to actually think about it. So it's scary. The last thing I want to do is to fail. But what do I do when I fail? Stop, write everything down, ask yourself, what could you have done better? It's not the end of the road. Seriously, even if it's a marriage, it's this. Past the emotion, we get a lot of free lessons and most of us tend to push it away, So take Thomas Edison. If you don't know who is Thomas Edison, he actually invented the bulb. If not, we won't be having this. He failed 1,000 times before he even found a success. So that's an amazing story. Another person that you should think about is Jack Ma. Jack Ma from Alibaba. He failed at least 30 times before he hit the jackpot. 30 times, And we failed 2 times. We want to cry. We want to put on Facebook. We want to complain. We want to, oh my God, I failed, and hoping that somebody will feel sorry for us. Because actually nobody cares. Seriously, nobody cares. Pick yourself up and go. If you fail, pick yourself up. This is again coming from Jack Ma. He got booted out of his own company before making a legendary comeback. Who are we talking about? Steve Jobs. Can you imagine? He got kicked out of his own company. He came back and he said, I'm taking them all to the cleaners. Failure taught him that, Every single one of the success stories has one thing in common. They didn't let failure define them. Instead, they used their failure to build their character, to improve, what have you failed in? Have you failed in an interview? I have a friend who sent in LinkedIn more than 350 50 applications before he landed one interview in about 3 months. Then after that, he didn't get the job. He went for the interview. After that, strangely enough, it started coming in. But I asked him, I says, what made you do this? What made you carry on? You're failing, and every time you get a letter, unfortunately we can't hire you. Unfortunately, you're not chosen. Unfortunately, so the word "unfortunate" was stuck in his head, and eventually he got the job, and now he's a group GM in a huge company. A mate of mine also. So amazing story. So when do you actually give up? So don't take failure as something that is stopping you. Okay, failure is something that you should be overcoming. Now, how do we overcome failure? It's about your mindset. Okay, instead of viewing it as failure, see it as a learning opportunity. What can you learn? I'll tell you about one of my failures. Okay, so my knees were really bad. I tore both my ACLs, and I started to give excuses. I started to, I can't do this, I can't do that. Doctor said I need to have a surgery and all that. So I spoke to various people and says, you know what, at your age, maybe you don't need surgery, you can do some rehab. And I kept doing it. If you see my exercise every day, I'm just squatting. I say, you know what, I attack this. These days, I'm not 100%, but I'm 75%. My knees are better, much better. I have great legs and stuff like that. So again, like the failures actually taught me a lot. So next time you find yourself in a face-to-face failure situation, don't run from it. Embrace it. Just bring it on. What can I do? If I fail, I'm going to pick myself up. And speaking of failures, some real life examples I want to share with you. Walt Disney. You all know Walt Disney, right? This is an amazing story. When he was working at a newspaper, his boss said he sacked him because he says he's the most uncreative person. We're talking about Walt Disney, right? He ended up becoming probably the most creative person with imagination of our time, okay? Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. If he would have let that failure, sort of define him, all of us wouldn't have an Air Jordan, or that the logo, or we wouldn't have seen the greatest sensation in basketball. So Oprah Winfrey, I believe I read this. There was an excerpt about she was actually fired from first job and faced sexual harassment and from a hostile work environment. Did it stop her? No, she went on to be the biggest thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is actually pretty simple. These stories all remind us of people who have overcome failure. If you have overcome failure, the common currency here is actually overcoming failure is to get up again. Bruce Lee said, fall 7 times, get up 8. So no matter where you are in your life, if you have failure, learn from it. And how do you learn from it? After you have all your manja emotions, calm down, take a deep breath. This is what happened. What did I do wrong? Was it within my control? If it was in my control, what could I have done better? And improve like that. Eventually, you'll get it. Eventually, you'll be the master of failures, and you'll become a professional at it, and it's next to nothing. 1,000 times. Remember, Thomas Edison. Every time you see a bulb, think about 1,000 times. So, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me in this podcast, 12th episode. Again, please like, please subscribe, please share. And if you want to purchase the book, it's at www.bookofjake.my. It's only 39 ringgit 90 cents. And check out my son's channel, Adam Lobo TV. Is one of the best tech reviewers. If you want to check out this studio also, please do so. I'll see you again. And Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf Zahir dan Batin. Take it easy.